Hello students and welcome to this session. Today I am going to take a topic from the paper Environmental Biotechnology, that is BOG 101 paper code. The title of my unit is Environmental Pollution, Unit 2, Module number 5. I am Maria Beatriz D'Souza, Faculty of St. Xavier's College from the Department of Botany. So what are we going to learn today? Today the topic is types of pollution and sources of pollution. At the end of this session, you will be able to explain the various types of pollution, identify the sources of pollution, and will be able to give or cite examples of pollution. Now before I go to the types of pollution, we all know that pollution is a global problem. It affects environment, it affects climate, it affects life. So let's see what are the various types of pollution. I have put here 4 major types, that is air pollution, water pollution, soil pollution and noise pollution. The less common or rare radioactive pollution. We first go to air pollution. Now air pollution is a widespread form of pollution. It produces hazards of various kinds. And the 2 major factors for this air pollution could be rapid urbanization and industrialization. Air pollution transcends boundaries. It does not stop at national boundaries, does not stop at state boundaries. It goes across boundaries. So what is air pollution then? It is the presence of materials, contaminants in the air in such concentrations which are harmful to man and his environment. What are the major sources of this air pollution? 1. Industries. Various types of industries, the petroleum refineries, cement industries, fertilizer factories, chemical manufacturing industries, the thermal power stations, automobiles, that is vehicles, and domestic combustion. Next, we see the principal air pollutants and the sources from which they are emitted. The first one here is fluorocarbons and CFCs, that is chlorofluorocarbons, the source of which is industries, refrigerants, coolants, ACs. Second, photochemical products from vehicles and automobiles, like photochemical products. I can here give example of PAN, peroxyacetyl nitrate, or PBN, peroxybenzoyl nitrate. Metals such as cadmium, zinc, lead from automobiles, metal processing units, particulate matter, that is soot, ash, aerosols from industries, power plants, quarries, constructions. Next, sulfur compounds, that is the oxides of sulfur. These are one of the most serious pollutants coming from thermal plants, refineries. Carbon compounds like carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide from automobiles, then oxides of nitrogen from vehicles, power plants, industries, and hydrocarbons such as benzene, methane from automobiles and industries. Now under air pollution, I would deal with this term called as smog. Now what is smog? Smog is an intense type of air pollution which produces haze and reduces visibility and causes respiratory ailments and other health hazards. Now this is coined from 2 words, that is smoke and fog. A smog can be 2 types, classical smog, also called as the reducing smog, London smog, because this was first seen in the 1950s in various cities of UK. And this is caused because of high concentrations of sulfur oxides, mainly because of combustion of coal. The second one is a photochemical smog, which is caused when oxides of nitrogen or the volatile organic compounds react with sunlight and produces a haze, a brown colored haze. Now this was seen in the 1940s in a city of America, Los Angeles. And this is also called as the Los Angeles smog or the oxidizing smog. Next, we deal with acid rain. Now, what is acid rain? Oxides of sulfur and nitrogen, which are coming out from as pollutants from various sources, they get swept up into the atmosphere. And the longer they stay in the atmosphere, the more likely they are to be oxidized into acids. For example, oxides of sulfur will be into sulfuric acid, oxides of nitrogen into nitric acid. These then dissolve in the water and come down to ground as acid rain. When I say acid rain, it could include fog, snow, hail, all this. Next, we go to water pollution. Again, a common type of pollution, where here there is undesirable change in the physical, chemical, or biological characteristics of water due to the introduction of pollutants which can cause illness or even death of living organisms. Now, what are the basic sources of water pollution? Domestic sewage from human settlements. One example here I can give you is of the Dal Lake in Kashmir, which was polluted because of a large amount of sewage flowing in it, and for a large amount of agricultural runoff flowing into it. Then you have industrial effluents, agricultural runoff, you have fertilizers, you have pesticides which eventually reach our water bodies which we used in agriculture. Then oil from rigs, from ship which pollute our water, mining, transport, and power plants. Now here, when I talk about power plants, I've also mentioned thermal pollution. Now thermal pollution is when there is a sudden increase or decrease in the temperature of the water body. For example, power plants produce a large amount of heat, and this heated water is released into the river bodies, and which raises the temperature of this water body and which affects the aquatic life here. So this would be one example of thermal pollution. Next, we deal with land pollution. Now, land pollution is any physical, chemical change in land which adversely affects the growth of plants and other organisms, directly or indirectly becomes a health hazard to mankind. Now, what are the chief pollutants of land pollution? Metals, pesticides from agriculture, wastes, it can be urban waste, domestics, industrial waste, and radioisotopes. Next, noise pollution, excessive and harmful sound in the environment that causes harm to living organisms. And this comes from factories, industries, from vehicles, various other transportation like rail, road, air, and festivals, community, religious activities. I go to the next one, that is radioactive pollution, that is release of radioactive substances into the environment during activities like nuclear explosions, testing of nuclear weapons, mining of radioactive ores. And what are the sources of radiation? Radioactive fallout, that is the radioactive dust that falls to the earth after atomic explosions. For example, cesium and SR-90. Then nuclear reactor wastes, industrial, medical, and research uses of radioactive materials, mining of radioactive ore. All these are sources of radiation. Now, what I have done is dealt with the types and the sources of pollution. I would like to end this session with a quote by our late Prime Minister, Mrs. Indira Gandhi. And I would like to focus your attention on the last two lines, where it says that one can take from the earth and the atmosphere only as much as one put back into them. I think we should introspect on this line, ponder on this line, and contribute whatever we can to keep our earth clean, green, and unpolluted. These are the references I've given you here, books and websites. And with this, I finish with my session. Thank you very much.